Hi friends, this video is on chapter 49 against Duratma Gandhi, Mohanbhai 2, that is Anna, the Anna and other time wasters. Chapter 49, you can download it from rahulmehta.com/301.htm. Entire Right to Recall Party manifesto is available, I repeat, rahulmehta.com/301.htm, and this video is on chapter 49, Duratma Gandhi and the Anna and other time wasters. Now, first of all, why am I cursing Duratma Gandhi? History is history, let history, everything has gone away past, so why bother? I very much agree with it. In fact, if you Google Henry Ford, history is useless or history is bunk, you will find Henry Ford's statement that history is useless. History is more or less bunk. That was his statement. And I also, around year 1986-87, after I finished my 12th class and studied lot of politics history in IIT library, I also came to same conclusion that history is useless. I came to know about Henry Ford's statement in 1992 when I was in US, 1992-1993. Then why repeat this history? The reason is that since we do not know about Duratma Gandhi, we are ending up with time wasters like Anna and Subramaniam Swamy and other people, and Arvind Gandhi, the new kid on the block. So it is necessary for me to explain Duratma Gandhi, that why British funded him, how he became famous, etc., so that it becomes easy for activists to understand the Anna and the Arvind Gandhi and Subramaniam Swamy, etc. Now, first of all, why didn't historians, and also once the title of Rashtrapita is given to Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose, and once we write a gazette notification which will say that no government officer will be allowed to say Mahatma to Mohandas, and he will be fined if he says so, and no government premises can have a picture of Mohanbhai Gandhi. After that day, I'll stop calling him Duratma. So one reason, important reason I call him Duratma is that sadly Mohanbhai is not yet dead. We are using government money to keep him alive. If somebody is using private money to keep him alive, I will not call him Duratma. But as long as government is using money to make his statues, make his pictures, print his books, etc., I want to make a point that we should have a gazette notification which will ban use of government money in publicizing Mohanbhai. Until then, I'll call him Duratma Gandhi. Now, why historians did not expose Duratma Gandhi? Because every historian is a paid historian, just as every journalist is a paid journalist. Every editor is a paid editor. Every columnist is a paid columnist. Same way, every historian is a paid historian. And it became clear to every historian that if they write good things about Mohanbhai, then Nehru will give a lot of funding, Congress will give a lot of funding, government will give a lot of funding. And if they don't write good things about Mohanbhai, then their books will not get too much circulation inside government libraries and so forth. So they started writing great things about Duratma Gandhi and did not write much about Rashtrapita Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, the deal with the biggest reason why I call him Duratma Gandhi was that his tactic delayed freedom, and because of him the partition violence increased. I don't blame him for partition. Partition happened because of there are 50 reasons. But at the time of partition, we do not have exact count of how many people died, how many were kidnapped, how many were forced to convert, and how many were forced to flee. The approximate numbers that different historians give is that about 10 lakh were killed, about 20 lakh to 30 lakh were kidnapped, and about 4 crore were forced to flee with practically nothing but their clothes. They lost all their property, all their gold, much of their cash, everything they lost. and from Pakistan and also from Bangladesh. Now, this violence would have been less if there was no toxic waste called as charkha spinning and bhajan singing and khadi making, etc. What happened is that because of all this charkha spinning, bhajan singing, non-violence, etc. nonsense, those who believed in him, mostly the Hindus, they did not even keep nail cutter with him. So when the mobs came, not everybody believed in him. There were some wise people, they did lot of damage to us, but they were sensible that they did not follow this ahimsa nonsense. So if our enemy is sensible, we lose. It is still our enemy, but they took a sensible step in not obeying Duratma Gandhi's charkha spinning and bhajan singing nonsense. So they had all the weapons, and those who believed in Duratma Gandhi, they did not even have nail cutter to defend themselves. So as a result, 10 lakh died, 20-30 lakh got kidnapped, and 4 crore had to flee. If they had not followed and if Duratma Gandhi was not throwing this toxic waste of non-violence and charkha spinning, etc., then partition still could have been there. I don't blame him for partition, as I said. Violence too could have been there, but instead of 10 lakh, I would have said 1 or 2 lakh would have died, because the other person has weapon to defend themselves. 20-30 lakh got kidnapped. Instead, say 2-3 lakh would have got kidnapped. Less people, 10%, because they will all have weapons to defend themselves. And they would have left with at least some of their property, because when there is a massive resistance, then there is a standstill, and some, at least jewels, gold, whatever they can take with them, they will be able to take with them. So that way, violence would have been much less if Duratma Gandhi was not throwing his toxic waste, and throughout his bhajan singing and charkha spinning, it was not that Duratma Gandhi was wrong, he was lying. It was not just that he was wrong. He was lying. There is a difference between being wrong and lying. For example, being wrong is that if I tell you something, at least at the time of telling, I am believing that I am making a right statement. But if I am believing, I know that I am making a false statement, then I am deliberately cheating you, I am deliberately misguiding you, and I am lying through a straight face. For example, if he really believed in non-violence, why didn't he go to Karachi? Why didn't he go to Islamabad? Why didn't he go to Dhaka? Why did he fast in Calcutta? Why did he fast in Delhi? He should have gone to Islamabad, Karachi, Rawalpindi, where lakhs were being butchered day and night. So, but he knew that his fasting tricks will not work there. Those people will beat the crap out of him, cut him into 1,000 pieces, or force him to convert there and there. So, he kept saying for 7, 8, 9 months, 1 year, he kept saying that I am going to go to Islamabad, I am going to go to Karachi, I am going to go to Rawalpindi, etc. But he never went there. He went to Noakhali in Bangladesh once, but hardly for 2-3 days. He did not stay there. He did not fast there to stop the riot. So all along he knew that he was lying. He knew that this charkha spinning and charkha spinning and bhajan singing cannot get us independence. But he did not bother. Now, what I want to focus on is Anglo-Mohan partnership. What is British-Mohan partnership or Anglo-Mohan partnership? Anglo-Mohan partnership was the unwritten contract between Britishers and Mohan Bhai, Duratma Gandhi. Contract was that Duratma Gandhi will take all the youth and put them into time-wasting activities, and in return, British will give money to Times of India and will ask Sarabhai, Bajaj, etc. to give money to Indian newspaper and give publicity to Duratma Gandhi. So Duratma Gandhi wanted publicity. He wanted to become #1 leader. See, Duratma Gandhi wanted to become #1 leader in the independence movement. How do you become #1? Sometimes it could be matter of chance. Sometimes it is what is called as adventure, parakram, that you do something that others are not willing to do. Others are afraid of doing. For example, Mahatma Bhagat Singh, he executed Sanders and Scott. Nobody else was willing to do. Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose, he created army, not an easy thing to do. Not everybody was willing to do. Parakram is one thing, adventure. Another is that you, with your intellect or accident, you hit a discovery with and labor that others could not do or were not capable of, mentally capable of doing, or whatever. For example, I mean, I'm not boasting myself, and of course I'm proud of it. But after reading the 3-line clause, transparent complaint procedure and right to recall, many people say that yes, this is a very brilliant contribution. After reading the right to recall PM draft, so that is the one way by which I got not their leadership, but they took my material as a good thing to read and good thing to understand. They consider my book and my writings as something worth spending time on. So that was basically my hard work of years and years, and also my study of computer science and many other fields and politics and administration and my intellect. But Duratma Gandhi neither had any outstanding intellect. He was academically he was very poor, and otherwise also intellectually he was very dumb, quite dumb. He was very cunning and very shrewd, but he was not very intelligent. And he was not adventurous either. He was by and large, he was a coward, very, very afraid to die. He was very much afraid to die. He loved his skin so dearly that he was not really willing to take the risk that Mahatma Bhagat Singh was willing to take, or Rashtrapita Mahatma Subhash Chandra was willing to take. So you are left only with third option. You take help of paid media. The world has seen only 3 ways of becoming well known. Only 3 ways of getting, only after you become well known you will be able to get leadership or whatever you call it. One is adventure, which Shivaji did, Mahatma Bhagat Singh did. Adventure may not always get you leadership. Shivaji was lucky that he did adventure and became leader. Because most people who do adventure end up dying, and they are not afraid of dying. Those people who do adventure, they don't calculate that I'll do adventure and then I'll become leader. If they are of that mind, they will never do. Adventure is always by and large, it's a loss making. So adventure is one thing, and intellect, some have it, some don't. It's also a matter of chance. Not every research is a successful research. And third is paid media. So Duratma Gandhi decided to take help of paid media. So deal is that there are millions of youth who are willing to kill British and willing to die. So for British, the problem is that how do I reduce my losses? Sometimes it is maximizing the profit, sometimes it is reducing the losses. Reducing the loss is that if somebody puts them on a time-wasting activity like sing bhajan or spin charkha, go to villages, clean all the gardens and everything twice a day, and go and sell khadi, which was loss-making. Today it is loss-making, even back then it was loss-making. It was subsidized by donations given by Sarabhai, Bajaj, etc. So you keep youth busy with some time-wasting activities, and whosoever who does that, we will give him front page coverage in Times of India, and we will also pay Sarabhai, etc. to pay money to the Indian language newspaper. So this was the Anglo-Mohan partnership, that Mohan Bhai Duratma Gandhi will waste away the time of youth, and in return Britishers will give him the publicity that he wanted, so that he can get #1 spot in Indian freedom movement. He can overtake Mahatma Lala Lajpat Rai, Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, everyone, Motilal Nehru, other leaders who were contemporary of his time. So did Duratma Gandhi really become acceptable amongst worker? Answer is no. In late 1930s, there was Congress election in which Rashtrapita Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose says that I want to contest for the position of president. Jawaharlal Ghazi did not have courage to contest election. Duratma Gandhi did not have to contest election against him. They all knew that they would lose. So Duratma Gandhi fielded one of his chamchas, Sitaramaiah Pattabhi, against him. And Duratma Gandhi campaigned big time. His campaign budget was literally 50 to 100 times that of Subhash Chandra Bose. Every newspaper covered Sitaramaiah Pattabhi's photo and Duratma Gandhi several times. Subhash Chandra Bose got no coverage from major newspapers. Despite this, Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose got 80% votes. He won with flying hand, and Duratma Gandhi and his chamcha, Sitaramaiah Pattabhi, lost big time. So this shows that Congress workers never accepted this non-violence nonsense because it is such a nonsense that nobody will ever accept it. But paid media created a myth. Paid media created a myth that everybody loves Mahatma Gandhi, everybody believes in Mahatma Gandhi's non-violence rationale or whatever, and thus anyone who speaks against Mahatma Gandhi was removed from media coverage. He was short of rubbish from the super intellectual community. So there is a reason why. So this was the main reason why Britishers sponsored him. Let me give you an example. That let us say you hate British. Say you are a young man of 1920, 1930. You hate British. And a Britisher comes and says that 2 and 2 is 4. Obviously you will believe it because 2 and 2 is 4. Anything that is verifiable, the color, race becomes irrelevant because it is verifiable. Similarly, let us say people are dying of malaria and a British comes and says that here is quinine or any medicine and this will cure malaria. At first you might suspect him because he is British. But let us say you try it on 50, 100 people and out of 100 people 80, 90, 95 recover. So now your faith in medicine will increase irrespective of the race, color, creed, caste, whatever. So when things are verifiable, race becomes less important. But let us say if British Viceroy were to tell you that, oh Indian brothers, you want freedom? Throw away all your guns in river, trash all your bullets, sell all your sword and spears and everything into kabaddi, just sing bhajans and spin charkha and you will get freedom in few weeks or few months. Obviously you will not believe such a British. Which is the reason why Viceroy never made such a statement. But they hired Duratma Gandhi to make such statement. And Duratma Gandhi too saw that if he wears a suit and a tie, his statement will not catch, which is why he was wearing that simple cloth. Because using simple cloth, he will emotionally blackmail Indian citizens. Oh, this guy is a saint-like personality. How dare you speak against a saint-like personality? So he is dressing fancy dress competition, as I call it. He is wearing this one khaki chaddar and whatever he was wearing, dhoti and one chaddar. It was purely a fancy dress competition aimed at psychologically suppressing weak minds and giving an opportunity to his paid media to project him as saint-like image. So, now let me give you a very critical question. Let us say you are Bajaj or Sarabhai or Tata or Birla. Let us say I am Viceroy. I call you for a cup of tea. At the end of cup of tea, I tell you that you are not going to give a penny to Mohan Bhai. I am Viceroy, you are a businessman like Tata, Birla, Sarabhai or Bajaj, and I am telling you not to give a penny to Mohan Bhai. So now will you dare to give even a penny to to Mohan Bhai? No, you won't. Why? Because I am Viceroy. Next day I can take away all your licenses. I can throw all sorts of sales tax and income tax and all sorts of inquiry on you. I can literally throw you in prison under treason charge. Snatch away all your property, factory, bungalow, whatever. You will be on road. So, point is that Viceroy never asked Tata, Birla, Sarabhai, Bajaj to stop funding Mohan Bhai. So, if Mohan Bhai's independence movement was really hurting British, why didn't Viceroy ask Tata, Birla, Sarabhai, Bajaj to stop funding Duratma Gandhi? Because Britishers wanted Duratma Gandhi to get as much funding as possible. Why? Because let us say all is franchisee. Duratma Gandhi's ashram, I call them franchisee. There are 3 franchisees in Ahmedabad. One at Kochrab, another is Sabarmati franchisee, another is Gujarat Vidyapit franchisee, maybe more. Like that Champaner, and he had franchisee all over India, as we know. Let us say in franchisee he used to keep youth busy. There was youth which wanted to kill and die for freedom of country, and he was keeping them with busy, that spin charkha, sing bhajan, go to villages, sell khadi. So a person comes to his ashram at the age of 15, 16, 17, 18, he will keep them busy for 4, 5, 8, 6 years. Then the guy will turn 19, 20, 21, get married, will have 1 or 2 kids. All his anger has evaporated. If that keep him busy tools were not given to him, he would have killed 2 or 4 constables. And if ghost of Bhagat Singh catches him, he would have killed an SP. And if ghost of Mahatma Udham Singh catches him, some of them would have gone to London and killed a few top ranking officers there, or killed top ranking officers here. It was a nick of time, otherwise Mahatma Chandrasekhar almost killed Viceroy. It was a technical snag because of which he could not kill Viceroy, otherwise Mahatma Chandrasekhar Azad had blown up Viceroy's train and he was late by few seconds and Viceroy saved. But if 5 people try the same thing, 10 people try the same thing, Viceroy cannot be lucky all the time. So Duratma Gandhi was keeping them busy, so Britishers saw that if his franchise is closed down, because it was making losses, mind you. Khadi was making huge losses at that time. So Bajaj and Sarabhai and Birla, they were all paying money to keep the charkha spinning. Why? Because if they don't keep the charkha spinning, then the youth will come out of the ashram will be shut down, he will start thinking, oh, what should I do to make country independent? And let us say 2 to 3 lakh youth were kept busy in ashrams, Mohan Bhai's franchisee. If all of them come out, and even if 10-20% of them start walking on the path of Mahatma Bhagat Singh or Mahatma Udham Singh, and if each one kills one Britisher, then British would have been forced to leave India. Why? Because how many Britishers were there in 1938? Only 80,000 with weapons. So if one Krantikari with training and patience can kill at least 2 to 3 Britishers, it would have been simply too expensive of British to retain the empire unless Mohan Bhai would have come to their help and kept the youth busy. So basically Duratma Gandhi was reducing losses to British. That British were paying money via Sarabhai, Bajaj, Birla, so that Mohan Bhai keeps the youth busy. Mohan Bhai keeps the youth busy, and so less, and in return Britishers will give money to Times of India to print Mohan Bhai's photo on the front page every now and then, and Britishers will also give money to Sarabhai, etc., to give money to Duratma Gandhi to print his magazine. He was printing Young Leader, Harijan, etc., 2-3 magazines, and all the regional newspapers that were printed by Birla, Bajaj, etc., they would also carry Duratma Gandhi's pictures, and other leaders will be pushed aside. So now let me give you one specific example that how Mahatma Gandhi, Duratma Gandhi killed Bhagat Singh's Purna Swaraj call using Dandi Satyagraha. The whole Dandi Satyagraha movement was started to kill Mahatma Bhagat Singh's Purna Swaraj call. I'll give you the chronology. That on 8th April 1929, Mahatma Bhagat Singh and Mahatma Batukeshwar Dutt throw bomb in assembly. About 1 year back, Mahatma Bhagat Singh had executed Sanders. So 8 April 1929, I request you to open this book, rahulmehta.com/301.htm, section 49.4. Section 49.4, I have given the chronology. 8 April 1929, Mahatma Bhagat Singh and Mahatma Batukeshwar Dutt throw bomb in assembly. 7 May 1929, the trial starts. And during the trial, Mahatma Bhagat Singh and all his colleagues raised the demand of Purna Swaraj. On 24th of June, Mahatma Bhagat Singh, Mahatma Batukeshwar Dutt and Mahatma Jatindra Nath start hunger strike. 13 September 29, Mahatma Jatindra Nath Das passes away due to 65 days of hunger. See, this is what I call as real hunger strike. Duratma Gandhi would not lose even 1 pound of weight. When Duratma Gandhi used to fast, forget about dying. None of the Gandhiwadi has ever died in fasting. whether it is Anna or Duratma Gandhi or any of his colleague. Only one person in Andhra Pradesh died, but he was not really a Gandhiwadi. Jatindra Nath passed after 65 days, and because of his fasting, in entire country, the demand for Purna Swaraj grows. And media men were forced to give coverage to Purna Swaraj as well as Mahatma Bhagat Singh. So Duratma Gandhi started developing depression. He had this depression problem that if he had this jealousy or whatever you call that, if anybody except him comes on the front page, he will have jealousy, he will not be able to eat food, he will not be able to digest food, he will start having sickness, etc. So he started to figure out how he can kill this Purna Swaraj call, how he can take the limelight away from Mahatma Bhagat Singh. So on March 12, 1930, Duratma Gandhi starts Dandi Namak Satyagraha. And since Britishers wanted to kill Purna Swaraj movement too, they gave huge amount of media coverage to Dandi Satyagraha. See, Dandi Satyagraha was basically hit because it got coverage from each and every newspaper in India. And international media also gave coverage, including BBC, Time Magazine of London, the Times of London and the Time Magazine of USA. International media also gave huge coverage because they all wanted to kill Mahatma Bhagat Singh's Purna Swaraj call. Now, the entire country was in Dandi March. So on 1st May 1930, Viceroy takes advantage and orders secret trial on Mahatma Bhagat Singh. See, that was another problem British were facing, that so much people's eyes and attention were on Bhagat Singh that it was becoming very difficult to execute death sentence on him. So using Dandi Satyagraha, Duratma Gandhi took away entire attention of the country away from Bhagat Singh, away from Purna Swaraj call onto Dandi Satyagraha. So that gave opportunity to Viceroy to conduct a secret trial, and on 10th of September 1930, court issued death sentence of Mahatma Bhagat Singh. There is one more thing, that Duratma Gandhi had asked Viceroy to execute Bhagat Singh one day earlier. Why? Because if Bhagat Singh was to be executed on 24th March evening, instead he was executed 23rd March in the morning, because 24th was Karachi Adhiveshan, in which Duratma Gandhi was to give talk on Ahimsa and Swaraj and all that. Now if Bhagat Singh was alive, then activists would have stuck with only one demand, that Mahatma Bhagat Singh Jindabad, call Viceroy right now, send a telegram or whatever, and ask him to postpone or cancel his execution. And Duratma Gandhi did not want that. Because of Bhagat Singh, Duratma Gandhi had lost all the focus. And therefore he wanted Bhagat Singh to get out of the sight as soon as possible, so that he can regain the focus. And therefore it is said that and also he never asked Viceroy to suspend his death sentence or cancel his death sentence. So not only that, when Sanders or Scott, I forgot, when they had beaten Mahatma Lala Lajpat Rai again and again and again till he died, Duratma Gandhi refused to file a police case against Sanders. Even in IPC back then, excessive violence was prohibited. It is not today's IPC. Even back then in IPC, excessive violence on the part of policemen, the law said that violence more than that is required for the purpose of self-defense. Means if he is doing up to the point of self-defense, violence was permitted, but beyond the point of self-defense, violence was prohibited. So the scenario was that Scott and Sanders had ordered 5 constables to surround Mahatma Lala Lajpat Rai and beat him again and again and again, and this was basically a crime even by IPC of these days, and a case could have been filed, but Duratma Gandhi refused to file a case against Sanders. He had also refused to, Exide I am saying, he had also refused to file case against General Dyer because he did not want to get into bad eyes of the British. So basically the Purna, my point is that Dandi Satyagraha was basically started to take the focus away from Bhagat Singh and take the focus away from his Purna Swaraj call. It is similar to, we see the similar even today, the Jan Lokpal movement. In fact, it should have been called Jindal Pal movement. The law is Jindal Pal. As I have said in many videos, that today Jindal is facing problem that he has to bribe 2,000-3,000 IAS, IPS ministers, MP. But if there is a committee of 11 Jindal Pal, or MNC Pal, or Ambani Pal, or Missionary Pal, whatever you call it, then they will have easy time. They have to bribe just 11. So, one reason why all this Jan Lokpal movement was started was to kill the focus from Rajiv Dikshit ji and Swami Ramdev ji's black money movement. And also amongst activists, right to recall was growing. Right to recall never got any media coverage. But if you take sample of activists who are spending at least 2-3 hours a day on internet, political, who are serious about political activism, then amongst them right to recall is number one proposal. And to take the focus away, and that was also another goal, that Jan Lokpal movement can take the focus away from right to recall movement. So now I request all activists to see the parallel between the Anna, Arvind Gandhi, and Duratma Gandhi. That just as British has sponsored media coverage to Duratma Gandhi to kill real freedom fighters, reduce the influence of real freedom fighters like Mahatma Bhagat Singh, Rashtrapita Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose, etc. Same way, Anna was given media coverage to bring black money back issue, BBMB as we call it, reduce influence of Swami Ramdev ji, also remove the focus from other problems such as increasing MNC domination, increasing number of Bangladeshis in India, and corruption and at high places like Supreme Court judges, ministers, etc. and so forth. And also there was one more reason, that Lokpal bill will get passed because of UNCAC. India was forced to sign United Nations Convention Against Corruption, forced or bribed, whatever you call it, that either MNCs bribed our ministers to sign UNCAC or forced our ministers to sign UNCAC. And UNCAC, if you read UNCAC clause 1 and clause 2 of article 6, I request you to read article 6 of UNCAC. You Google on UNCAC and you will find the PDF, and clause 1 and clause 2, it clearly says that every signatory country will have to form a body of independent investigators who can prosecute and investigate any crime, any allegation of corruption against minister, officer, judge, judiciary is not mentioned, and so forth. So now it would be a loss of face before BJP, CPM, Congress, everyone, if everybody finds out that government passed Lokpal bill because of UNCAC. So an illusion of mass movement was needed, that oh well, Jan Lokpal came because of mass movement and so forth. So basically we should study Duratma Gandhi to focus on this phenomena or method. The method that the master countries, enslaving countries such as USA, UK, etc. use is that give media coverage to the leaders who are time wasters. For example, Duratma Gandhi and Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose, if you compare the two, you will see that Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose was right. Finally freedom came because of army revolt, navy revolt, etc. Jabalpur army revolt, etc. So Mahatma Subhash Chandra Bose was right, but paid media always gave coverage to Duratma Gandhi because it was a British paid media. Even the media which was paid by Sarabhai or Bajaj or Birla, etc., that was also basically paid by British. So the MNC strategy is that give coverage to those leaders who are wasting away time of youth activists. And how the phenomena works is that the media man will make one such person hero. So now any junior activist who thinks that, oh well, a large group is needed for an action, which I completely disagree with. Solo activist means 2 lakh solo activists can bring magic. They don't need to unite under one roof. In fact, if they unite under one roof, their efficiency will decrease. But anyway, many activists feel that they must become part or a member of a big organization or come under a big leader. And then media will project one of the time waster as a leader who will waste away time of the activist. So that is the method that media is, Britishers, Americans are using today. Britishers used it in between 1910 and 1947, and Americans are using it today. And in order to explain that, I explained you the whole concept of Duratma Gandhi. Now comes about Nathubai Godse. So let me put it that I am completely against him. What he did was wrong and it created a disaster. What he did was he should have spent his energy in exposing the paid media and Duratma Gandhi nexus. Killing an unarmed man always backfires. Why? Because he dies. But he is not the main guy. The main guy is the media owner who are sponsoring him. So the main guys survive and they are still having the media. So they will encash that dead body of Duratma Gandhi, make him a taller guy, and his memories and his name and his wrong methods will live longer. So what Nathubai did is that he killed Duratma Gandhi, but he gave 60-year life to Gandhiwad. If Nathubai had not killed Duratma Gandhi, then Gandhiwad would have died within 3-4 years. Everybody in India would have said, yo Mohan Bhai, you shut up. You change your name to Mohsin Bhai, or we will change it for you. Go to Hajj and don't come back to India. On your way, stay in Pakistan for rest of your life. People of India would have literally kicked out Mohan Bhai out of country and forced him to live in Pakistan. If he had lived only for 2 or 3 more years. And Mohan Bhai would have been dead. Not only that, Jawaharlal Ghazi too would have been kicked out of his prime ministership. He survived mainly because of support of Duratma Gandhi, and after Duratma Gandhi passed away, he survived mainly because he created a huge name from Duratma Gandhi, his death, and he used that name to increase his support. Because more than 80%, 85% Congress workers wanted Vallabhbhai Patel to become Prime Minister. Even when the delegates came, 2 delegates came from each state. At that time, India was divided into 25 segments. The Congress was organized is that it was divided into 25 regional committee or whatever you call it, and each committee had sent 2 delegates. And out of 50, 46 voted for Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Only 2 or 4, I think from Kashmir, and other was from Pakistan, which had already seceded, but still they were member of Congress. Only they voted for Jawaharlal Ghazi. But Britishers forced Indian industrialists that do you want machinery spare part? Because if we don't give you machinery spare part, your industries will collapse next day. India will function, somebody else would have made machine, but you will lose your business. So they asked they asked Indian industrialists, namely Birla, Bajaj, etc., to force Duratma Gandhi to support Jawaharlal Ghazi. See how the pressure works. And Jawaharlal and Duratma Gandhi always obeyed industrialists because he knew that these industrialists are the one who are paying media and making him famous. So when industrialists told Duratma Gandhi that Jawaharlal Ghazi should become PM, then Duratma Gandhi forced Vallabhbhai Patel to back down. Now it was a tactical retreat on part of Vallabhbhai Patel. What he thought is that let Jawaharlal Ghazi become PM. Once there are election, most MPs will anyway support Vallabhbhai Patel because he was highly unpopular. So in 1951, after first election, anyway, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel would have become PM, but Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel unfortunately died because of that. I don't know whether he was poisoned or whatever, because if he had lived just 2 years longer, then Congress would have kicked out Jawaharlal Ghazi anyway. But anyway, that portion is not part of this chapter. So, my point I want to emphasize is that I am completely against Nathubhai Godse. What he did was wrong and it damaged India because he only killed Duratma Gandhi. Because of him, Gandhiwad got longer life. The way to deal with such people is to expose their hollow ideology. How? By confronting them real questions. For example, I confront the question that give me right to recall MP draft. That is the question with which I confront Anna and Arvind Gandhi, and when they fail to give answer, they get exposed. It's a slow process and it can fail, but the benefit of this process is that it will never backfire. What Nathubhai Godse did actually backfired. Now what can you do to expose Duratma Gandhi? Well, what you can do to expose Duratma Gandhi is that demand right to recall over history chairman, Archaeological Survey of India chairman, History Council of India chairman. These positions are not recallable. Once there is right to recall over them, these people will start printing right history. Second, right to recall over Doordarshan chairman, and that will improve the media. Third, I also request you to fight against today's new Gandhi and new Nehru, namely the Anna and Arvind Gandhi. How? By asking them questions. What question? That will you support right to recall Jan Lokpal clauses in next lifetime? Because in this lifetime they flatly refused. They flatly refused that in this lifetime they will not support right to recall Jan Lokpal, and you can ask them. He has been talking about right to recall MP since April 2011. Please ask him to give draft. By asking these real questions, you will be able to expose him. Thank you.